And we would like to proceed with the next speaker. I would just like to welcome Victor Socolov. Is he here with us? Okay, nice. Just a second, Victor, you have a nice intro as well. So every club wants to sign a great player. The most successful clubs find them before everyone else does. Identifying undervalued talent remains one of the football's greatest competitive advantages, especially in an increasingly efficient and competitive market. Our next speaker has built his career around exactly that challenge. Please welcome Victor Socolov, first team scout at Politehnica Timișoara. Please join me here on the stage and give a round of applause for him. Thank you. Here is your microphone.
Thank you.
And here you can.
One second. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Victor Socolov, and welcome to my presentation on how to find undervalued players. Just to summarize, maybe if you want to call a colleague who's not here, or this is your chance to leave the room if this is not interesting for you. This is mainly a presentation about scouting and how to make it valuable. Or if we want to be informal, basically how to make money regardless if you're an agent or a club. It's how to manage to do good things and achieve your objectives and have resale value, even if you don't have a lot of funds. And just so I know how to structure my presentation to get more value to you, can you raise your hand if you're an agent? Okay. So a lot of you will see this perspective, and can you also raise your hand if you're a club member or a scout? Okay, so we also have a few here that see this perspective. A little bit about myself. I am 25 years old, and I already have a few years of experience as head of analysis and lead scout in Dinamo Bucharest, working with Željko Kopić. Also in Rapid Bucharest as a first team scout, and now I am in Poli Timișoara. I will give you shortly a quick introduction about our club, especially for the agents that are here that might want to collaborate. You might wonder why I chose to join it after working for such big names in Romania. And one of the big reasons is the fan base that it has and the potential that it has. So it's located in the third biggest city in Romania, and it has a lot of financial potential, I guess you could say, because there are always fans going to the stadium and there's always passion and pressure for performance. So you can see even with big stadiums, even in small stadiums, it's always a huge atmosphere there. And for this reason, we are building two very big stadiums in Timișoara. One will be ready in winter of 10,000 seats, and another one we will start rebuilding our old stadium in a few years. And I want to make this as engaging and valuable as possible. So if you have a question, you don't need to wait for the Q&A. You can just raise your hand and we can discuss it. Also, I have a statement that I want to start with. Can you raise your hand if you agree with this statement? Do you agree that time is money? Okay, so most people agree. Is there anyone who disagrees with this? So we don't have anyone, if I am seeing correctly. Okay. I agree only partially. I think that time is not money, but it could be money. In the idea that if you just invest your time, you work, that doesn't mean you work correctly, that doesn't mean it will produce value. But if you have a strong plan and an execution, this is what creates value from your time. And through, when I say plan and execution, I understand sporting strategy or scouting quality. If you're an agent, maybe not so much strategy, but still understanding your market and hiring, outsourcing, going yourself, and making value of the scouting time you have. So what makes a player undervalued? Does anyone have any quick ideas about what how can we identify an undervalued player? Okay, I will show you, and hopefully you can learn about this. So I group them into three big categories. Firstly, it's the market saturation. There are many profiles that we can find in abundance in certain leagues, but not so much in our market. For example, I think everyone knows in Eastern Europe, you cannot find too many tall, big, fast strikers. And if they do, they are lazy. So usually we focus on African markets or French markets or whatever other markets, Brazilian markets. Then there's the player and the club context. There are players that may not be in the best form right now, but it doesn't mean they're bad players. It's just bad context. So it's very good to understand as an agent or as a club, do we want informed players or do we want good players that can perform better than the informed player does in 1 year or two? And then there's the market advantage. Because, and this is one of the most important lessons I've learned recently from a Tottenham scout that did a course in Romania, is that it's most important to be the first in one market than to be second in a lot of other markets. So if you have a local market, try to be first there, because you can only sign 1, 2, 5, 10 players. You cannot sign everyone. So it's important to be first in order to really get that value. I leave you here a few practical advices, a few practical tips that you can use. You can maybe take a picture. I don't want to go into too much detail, but these are the small details that could make a difference when scouting or recruiting a player for your agency. We'll leave it 2, 3, 5 more seconds if you want to get some ideas. Or if you didn't get to, you can always ask me later. Regarding market saturation, I think there's some obvious choices. Where do you go if you want a certain profile? I think everyone knows by now if you've worked certain markets. These are again some ideas for what you can find in Serbia, for example. I don't know if you agree, but we've had many players with fighting spirit in Romania. And also we've had many players from Romania that we exported with technical ability and creative output. And also I want to give you a quick test if you want to work on this. If you have a 10,000 euro budget and you want quick results in Eastern Europe, where do you sign a 1v1 winger from? Do you have any quick ideas? Okay, so I want to show you an example of what Cluj did. This is a team that was supposed to fight for the playoffs and earn European qualifications. And then it ended up fighting for the title and the cup, and they just barely lost it in the last week. And what happened is they signed 2 players completely out of form. Ukas Mendy was barely playing in the first Belgian division, and Issouf Makalou was in the 3rd French division. And you can see that in the big matches that mattered against CFR Cluj, against FCSB, much bigger opponents, they both got goals, assists, they participated in a lot of wins in a row. And these were players that not many clubs have trusted. They were, I guess, out of form without many offers. And then again, coming back to value and the resell of it, they both joined as free transfers. They both joined on quite small salaries, and now they are having big resell offers. So they helped the short-term performance of the club and also the long-term performance. And now I want to show you some examples also from my experience, so I can tell you more about the story of it. This guy is Joshua Omau, and he was a player, as you can see. He has been around for some time before Dinamo got him, but he was on a very steady path like this. He was not improving, not anything out of the ordinary. I don't know if you can see, but he was worth around 200,000 euros. For a first division club, that is not a lot. And he signed for around 7,000 euro per month plus minus. And at the end of the 2 seasons, so in just 2 seasons, he signed the contract in Standard Liège worth around 40,000. So if you're an agent, I think it's really interesting. For 7,000 euros, it's maybe not so hard to find players depending on your connections. But to have a player sign for 40,000, you triple your investment, I think. And so how did we do it? We really needed a left-footed center back, as you all do. Probably you all have requests for left-footed center backs now. So we obviously got turned to France because they have athletic defenders, strong, aggressive, and fast. And we played a really high defensive line with very strong pressing and counter pressing in intentions. And in France, they usually play a low block defending. So it's hard to spot these qualities in players. So it was more about seeing potential rather than direct quality. You can see the potential he has in negative transition. He doesn't immediately stay on the defender because the club asks him to, but he has good instincts once he's there. He's very aggressive to push the opponent from the back. And this is what we liked in the last minutes of the game, where it wasn't about coach tactics, it was about instinct. He could deliver. And then you can ask, okay, you found such a good player. How comes only you found him and not other teams? And the idea is, for a player of this level, maybe 60% of teams don't have scouting. So if you're an agent has good relationships with scouts, if you have a scouting department of 3 or 4 guys, you're already much better than many of your competition. Also, some guys just don't like French people. They think they are difficult. They don't want to waste their time with them. And then there is the problem that we have that almost collapsed this deal, because my first impression was not to sign this guy. And then discussing with my colleagues, we were like, okay, everyone agreed, let's go for him. But the problem was he made some defensive errors. And this is because of how low playing time he got until the age that we signed him. And that is a very big red flag if you want quick performance, which we did. But we also accepted that we weren't getting much better with experienced players. So basically, he was almost an amateur player. And then he also had a lot of injuries. And we could tell he doesn't have many offers. He was very eager to come to us. And this is the season he made before coming to us. So this is third French division. He played 16 games. And I don't know if you can tell, if you have experience with injuries, but it says not in squad, but it's obvious what this is. I let you think for a moment, but this is a hamstring injury. This is very recurrent. It always comes back. It always happens. It's hard to run from it. And we thought about it very long, very hard in meetings. What do we do with this guy? And I will show you the results now. These are the most important games of the first season. He played all of them in the playout. And then he also played 31 games per season out of around 40, I think. And he played, you can see in the championship group, he played 8 games as well. So we managed to turn him around from 16 games per season into 31. So it was not about running from the risk and going safe. It was about assuming the risk and mitigating it, basically. So what we do is we really understood. We completed the scout report on each topic that was important, and we addressed it. So we hired the sports scientist. Okay, we didn't hire the sports scientist because of him, but we had him in the club, and we told him about it, and he managed the load for the hamstring in training and the injury prevention. And then also we played him in a free at the back with a 38-year-old guy and a 30-year-old guy. So we had this risk of him committing defensive errors. Maybe he did 1 or 2, but he was covered and it didn't lead to goals. And also he was quite an introvert. We signed another French player. We accommodated them. And this is the results. This is against CFR Cluj in 72 minutes in a big derby. And you can see the intensity required and how he's able to do 1v1 mark, jedan na jedan marking in these big games. Also, the reaction to have coming from an amateur player, but performing very, very confidently and aggressive in this. So it's more important, rather than, if you want to find undervalued players, more important than the context they're playing in is the personality they have, what they like to do and what they can do, because ultimately this is what they get confidence from. And I think it ended well. We took care of all the pillars, and it went well. Now I want to show you another example, a player which I really, really like, and I was sure of this player from the very beginning. His name is Denis Politic. He joined us for free, for around 7,000 salary as well. The purple arrow represents when I began to know him, just seeing him as a Romanian player abroad. And then you can see the moment he got a short downward path. This is when he became accessible for us. and we were like, okay, let's approach him. So this is very important why you should know your local market, because if someone presents you a player out of form, you think, he's not good enough. But if you know him from before, you see you can act immediately when he's out of form. And it's important also to know when to sell, because we knew he had big injury problems. He had a big confidence problem from these injuries, so we sold him at the right point. He's now going downwards, but we cashed in and cashed out at exactly the right moments. And you can see this is actually a player with real resale value. We got 1 million plus another 1 million player, a lot of value for this guy with actually not much scouting, just a few, I think 2 matches video scouted, a little talk with the player. So it wasn't like very, very complicated scouting. So this is how his Transfermarkt page looked. League 1 for division in England, 2 goals and 1 assist, playing all over the pitch. And I want to ask you, I really want to ask you if you have any ideas, what do you think this represents? Please tell me if you cannot see. You have also these monitors here. I can tell you if you cannot see perfectly. So he played 600 minutes in this data set, 600 minutes in this data set. I can assure you this is the same player. In this side, he had 6 goals, in this none. This side, 2 goals, and here none. And here he had 27 shots, 50% on target. Here he didn't have a single shot on target. So no chance, not even 1 chance of scoring a goal compared to scoring 6 goals. Do you have any idea what this could be and what this could be? Yes? Different, sorry? Exactly. This is what happened. These are his stats playing on left wing, and these are his stats playing any other position. So it's very important to understand what a player likes and what he's trained to do, what he knows how to do. And this is why, okay, maybe it's also the league style. I will get in detail a little bit further. But this is the most important thing, to play him where he can produce value and to understand what that value is. And what we knew is that he had a 1v1 play style, which was not obvious in England, where you have a lot of physicality. So in Romania, it's much easier for him to score, to assist, to take one-on-one. And then also the most important and other aspects that you can see is the side he plays. On the right, he cannot perform like on the left. And you can see this is the shot he has. For example, he cannot shoot like this from the right. And this is the confidence he gets from scoring goals and trying 1v1. He never did this in England from the left because he didn't have the confidence. And this is what confidence and morale also means in an attacking player. You let him do first the 2 sequences. These are in chronological order. And this is how he finished the season in an extremely important game. He did this. This is with the full stadium. This is in a situation which he didn't have before. 30,000 people in the seats going crazy. And he's not a player with great composure, but with confidence, we can bring this out of him. And again, this is to see the whole process. So not very complicated scouting process, just simple strategy and understanding what you need from a player. So this is basically also his career. You see, he has straight line, then he goes a little bit down, then he can go up. This is the reality of a football player. You're not a good player or a bad player. You have bad times, good times that you need to navigate and understand as a club and also as an agent. Where do you want to invest in a player? It's like in life, you buy a house, you buy something. Do you want to invest here? And maybe it has chances of going low, or you want to invest here and put your trust in an undervalued player, for example. And this is, for example, it's good to invest here, but you cannot really invest here. If someone presents you now, he gives you a player without a market value, you say, I need more than this. So then in order to invest here, you must know the player from here. Because you already have an image, you can make a decision here without rushing. And I want to show you a little bit of how I can manage to do this. This is the database that we've built in Polytimișoara. Actually, we've built it many years ago, but we still use it. And this is how I managed to keep track of players that become undervalued. I know them from when they are good, and if they drop in value, I can always recheck them, and I will show you exactly a story of how I did this, and it worked interestingly. So you can see these are many information that we save. And also we have a lot of filters. So for example, if I see a player, even 20 minutes, 40 minutes, I see a player quickly in a game. If I see he has good high line defending, I'm thinking, okay, this is a player that could be interesting in the future. I don't need to see him more because I'm in the middle of a transfer window, I'm rushing. But I put a filter and I check him in January, I check him in February, and we keep him in mind. And even if he drops his value, we still track him. And this is how it helped a very, very weird transfer I made. This was a guy from 4th French division, no market value, no nothing. He was an amateur player. And how I found him is through market advantage knowledge, how I mentioned. I viewed a match of him on a website I heard from a French scout. And I heard he's available from a French agent. So it wasn't like public information. It was knowing a local market in which you activate. And to tell you a little bit more about this guy, we finished the summer transfer business in Dinamo Bucharest in 1st division. And it was September, and a friend from the last team in the league in 2nd division asked me for a player. And I was like, look, we mainly scout better players than you have. The only player I can give you is this guy. And I talked with his agent. I did everything for free just to help him. And this is how important market information is. For me, this guy was a good amateur player. Good 4th division player. I see only one match of him. I thought he could be a 3rd division player, maybe in France. But then his agent shows me this. This was, look at him, this is the guy scanning here. I don't know how many amateur guys you see with so much intention on the ball that know everything. This is against Nuremberg in 2nd German division. You can see the information on the screen. But just to show you again, not every amateur player can play with so much intention, so much tactical knowledge to know what they do and to evade pressure so easily in against a 2nd German division side. So when his agent showed me this, I knew exactly he has a lot of potential. And if I was scouting this guy for my team, it's very important to know all of this. And so they played him for half a season, but the team was absolutely evident it was going to relegate, and they wanted to not pay his salaries anymore because it was too much for them, it wasn't necessary. And so they had two options. To mutually release the contract, we're like, thank you for your help, we don't really need you anymore because we're going to relegate. Or allow to leave for free when he gets an offer, but keep 20% of the transfer fee because of the scouting they or I did. And what happened is, this guy went to Slavia Sofia in 1st Bulgarian division for free. He went on loan to Göztepe. He played in Turkish 1st division, 5th or 6th place. He did ACL injury, came back to Slavia Sofia. He signed for CSKA Sofia, but directly from Slavia Sofia, from which he joined from Progresu. And 20% of 650,000 euros, it's 140,000 euros, which is a whole season budget for the team. From an initial investment of 700 euros per month. This was his salary in 2nd Romanian division in last place. So I think as an agent, you can easily get this type of player. You can scout him, and then this is the profit you can make. And the sad part is, it was mutually released. So the team didn't get a single money. They didn't create value for this. So they could have gotten a whole season budget, and this is why strategy is important. Okay, you can scout, you can find undervalued players, but what do you do after? It's important to also have in mind a strategy. You find undervalued players, and then you try to make them overvalued. And to end, these are a few things that you can do after you have accomplished this process, is to earn money for your investment. Because this is the end goal as a club, as an agent, this is what we are working for. And this is it. I thank you very much for your attention, and you can keep in touch with me.
Thank you very much, Victor. Do we have any question for our speaker? I saw so many notes were taken during your conversation, actually, presentation. So
This is the thing that I enjoy the most, to have people actually keep something from.
yeah, you definitely gave a great insights. We do have a question for you.
My turn to ask you a question, Victor. I was thinking about the player from Red Star, because it's in France, obviously. When you have injuries like that, do you pay attention to the quality of the pitch? Because at the time, Red Star, I think they were playing on a synthetic pitch, which was terrible, actually. I know in Switzerland they're playing a lot on synthetic. In Mexico, for instance, you've got altitude. Do you pay attention to these kind of things when you're taking consideration of the injuries?
I think it depends. From an injury point of view, I will be honest, I'm not really an expert. But I think it depends how big the difference is from the player quality. If we are not sure of the player quality, we are 100%, look, this is also another aspect. But if we are sure of the player quality, like we were with Joshua, we thought this was just a small little observation because I saw this, but I was like, it can be okay. If, for example, in Poli Timișoara now we play in a few bad pitches in second division, and we also take care for this to not sign players who are only proven on perfect pitch. Because we will have a lot of battles, and yes, in Poli Timișoara I care much more about this, but I think when your team, the recruiting team plays in a good pitch, it's much easier to adapt rather than to have so I think the Red Star team should be more careful with this. But thank you for your question.
Do we have more questions for our speaker, Victor? No, so in this case, I would like to thank you and give one more round of applause. This was Victor Socolov, first team scout at Polytechnica Timișoara. Thank you.